on your that you like are okay that it's recorded. Just know that whenever I record these classes, that you see me in this picture, and that's all that's on the recording. If y'all talk, then your voice will be on the recording, but your picture doesn't come up there. And I know I don't know that anybody likes to be on the camera and listen to their self-talk. I don't know that anybody likes that. I have myself, forget what it's called, spotlighted. So I'm the spotlight. It doesn't matter if y'all talk, I stay the big picture, and that's what's recorded. Let me turn off this air filter thing. Oh, all kinds of noises going on. Okay, so Miss Juanita, you haven't seen my face before, but I'm Jennifer, and do you remember Robin that worked for SOWEGA? Did you ever meet Robin?
I met so many people I can't remember their names.
Well, I was just going to tell you that I have the same job as Robin had, except I work in Baxley. I work for the Area Agency on Aging in Baxley. So
okay.
The counties that y'all live in are not counties that I typically cover, but because virtual can be done anywhere, I mean, y'all could be in Italy and y'all could be on my class. Last year, I had somebody join from Chattanooga, Tennessee. So you literally can be anywhere and take class. And I think that's so cool. So Robin left SOWEGA and she took another job somewhere. And she was the person who did the virtual Tai Chi class. Actually, she did in-person Tai Chi classes too. But the SOWEGA has an in-person, I think they have in-person Tai Chi class. I can't remember what day it is. Y'all probably know more than I know. And they asked if I would take over virtual. And so I was happy to do it because number one, I love Tai Chi. I've been teaching Tai Chi almost 10 years now. No, over 10 years. I'm going on 11 years of Tai Chi. This will be my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be my 6th and 7th classes that I've taught virtually. So I've had a really good experience. We have repeat people, so it has to be somewhat good if people are wanting to even come back and take it again. So I don't know what your goals are with wanting to take Tai Chi. My guess is falls prevention. That's typically seniors' reason to take Tai Chi. That's a perfect reason because one of the top 3 reasons why people are admitted into the hospital is because they fall. And so we don't want to be admitted into the hospital. We have things we want to do. We have, we have plans. We don't want to fall and hurt ourselves, break a bone, break a hip. We don't want to have to go into rehabilitation. We don't want the bills that come with having to be admitted into the hospital. So that's a great reason to want to take Tai Chi. And if that's your only reason, great. But you're going to get that, and you're also going to get other benefits too. One of my favorite things about Tai Chi is it's a permission to slow down. It's a permission to take everything that's on my to-do list, everything that's on my worry list, and just chunk it out the window and have 1 hour of just slow breathing and easy, because life out there is just busy and in a hurry. So it's nice to just go, I like the idea of improving my balance and coordination. I like the idea of improving the mobility of my joints. I guess because I work at a desk, I get a lot of tension in my shoulders and in my neck. And so anytime I feel a little extra tension there, I do some of my stretches, specifically for my shoulders and neck, because that's where I feel the tension. So, just know your reason why you're taking Tai Chi, and know you're going to get benefits beyond just your reason. I'm going to be talking throughout the classes about principles of Tai Chi, and as long as we're following the principles in our movement, we're going to get those benefits. So let's start off, and we always start off by walking around the room. You can walk in place. Because I'm on camera and I want to stay on camera, I tend to walk backwards and forwards. I don't recommend walking backwards because we don't have eyes in the back of our head and we can't see behind us. But here I'm in class, I have that camera and I can see there's a chair back there. If it weren't for that camera, I might not know there was a chair back there and I might fall over it. So otherwise, I don't recommend walking backwards, but as long as you can see yourself, if you're aware of your environment, backwards is okay if you're comfortable with that. So I'm just walking and opening and closing my hands, pumping my arms, getting my blood flowing, getting my body warmed up to exercise. We always want to warm up a little bit, just a few minutes of movement to get our muscles ready to do something. It decreases our chance of injury whenever we warm our muscles up. So it's just a little bit of time that we spend warming these muscles up. Thankfully, it's not real cold outside today. So the room in here that I teach class, it typically mirrors the temperature outside. So when it's cold outside, it's cold in here. I keep a heater over here just for those times so I can warm up the air because I don't like when my muscles are cold. Oh, so I'm going to take a few deep breaths. We want to challenge ourselves to continue breathing throughout our movements. Whenever we're doing something new, we tend to hold our breath because our concentration is kind of off. We're trying to concentrate on doing movements correctly when they're new. And we forget to breathe, which is crazy because it's an automatic response with our bodies. So get you some good breaths as you get that body warmed up. Inhaling completely through your nose and exhaling through your lips. And here I'm exhaling through pursed lips, which kind of looks like a whistle. Just like that. All right, so when we talk about getting started and thinking about body awareness, we think about body structure. So we want an upright posture where we're standing upright, and our spine is like a string that pulls up towards the ceiling and down towards the floor. So we have that nice straight spine. Our shoulders are back and relaxed. So we're not holding our shoulders up and holding tension. Got a nice relaxed body, but still that good posture. I have my feet about hip width or shoulder width apart, just wide enough to really hold my weight in a stable way. If I were to put my feet real close together, then I don't feel as stable. And if I spread my legs out too far, then it's kind of hard to move around from there. So find that nice stable stance where your feet are about shoulder width or hip width apart. Our weight currently is on both legs. These first movements that we do don't have any leg movements. Our legs, we just ask our legs to hold our weight. You might have a soft bend in your knee. So not a squat, we're not squatted down, but we're not locking our knees either. It's just a soft bend in that knee. And so that's called a song joint, S-O-N-G, just like singing a song, but the joint when it's open and it's that nice soft is called a song joint. We'll keep our elbows the same way. When we go through those movements, we'll never lock our elbows out. So anytime we're pushing our arms out, it's never locked elbows. Always have a soft bend. That just keeps the energy flowing throughout our bodies by having those open joints. So there's our nice stable stance thinking about body structure. We're going to start with our neck. We did those first three last week. We did a neck, shoulder, and spine. This week we're going to do those again, and then we're going to learn those three lower body movements with hips, knees, and ankles. And those are our warm-ups that we'll do every time. As class goes on, we spend less time on our warm-ups and more time on our Tai Chi movements. But in the beginning, we're learning about these warm-up movements. And so I talk more about them so that I know that you're doing them correctly and safely. If you ever have any questions, just feel free to ask, interrupt me. Don't let me confuse you. Sometimes I might say a word I don't mean to say, or I may cut off and not explain all of it. It's never intentional, but just let me know if you need clarification. So we're in this nice stable stance. We're going to start with our neck exercises. Our hands are to our sides. We're going to bring our hands up, palms down, and come to about shoulder height. We're going to bring our hands towards our chin and chest, push away from our bodies, and then follow those hands all the way down, putting that chin towards our chest. Bring our hands up, breathe in towards our chin and chest. Exhale whenever you get ready and follow those hands all the way down. Should feel a little stretch in the back of your neck. So you breathe at your own rate. All our lungs are different. Up, towards, push away, not locking our joints, keeping that soft bend, and then follow those hands all the way down. Our other neck exercise starts the same way. We bring those hands up toward our chin and chest. Now let's drop one hand to our hip and follow this one as we look towards that shoulder. So notice only my head is moving. My body's staying facing forward. Only that head is moving. And that's how we stretch our neck. If I were to move my body, then it would stretch my spine. It wouldn't stretch my neck. So we've come back to center, switch our hands, and now follow this hand towards the other shoulder. Just going until you feel that stretch in your neck. You don't have to go as far as you can go, but each time you do this movement, your neck will become more and more loose. I'm just inhaling and exhaling through these movements, allowing my body to stay relaxed, yet still stretching those muscles, working on flexibility of my neck. I always think about driving when I do this movement, because when you drive and you have to change lanes, you look over that shoulder to make sure it's safe. Or if you're backing up out of a parking spot, you have to look over that shoulder to make sure everything's clear to be able to back up. And so that's just an everyday activity where this exercise can help you. Those are the two exercises that I do whenever I feel any kind of tension in my neck or just feeling some stress. I look over my shoulder, following that hand. And then the other one where we come up towards, push out, and then following those hands down where my chin is to my chest. So those are our two neck exercises. The next ones are for our shoulders. So our hands stay at our sides, and we're going to do small circles, rotating those shoulders forward. And it probably feels a little awkward because our shoulders aren't supposed to be forward. So let's roll them back. That feels more natural. Rolling those shoulders back. It's like a massage you give yourself. So of course, this is another one I do when I'm feeling that tension in my shoulders and neck. Sometimes I get carried away and I might do 10 or so of them. But for the sake of class, we try to keep things at about three rotations. Nice shoulder warm up stretch. And we always end on that roll back. All right, now let's do a nice shoulder circle where we bring our hands up, palms up. We come about shoulder height, and then we bring our hands down, push down in front of us. Bring those hands up, and push down, palms down. This is a great one to practice your breathing. So we inhale as we come up and exhale as we push those hands down. You can even sit in a chair and just go through this shoulder exercise. I like to think about positive and negative. You know, in this life, we have both. It's just the nature of our life and in the Chinese world, they call it yin and yang, the positive and the negative, the white and the black. Just opposite forces, and we can train our brains to focus on good, or we can train our brains to focus on bad. And what difference will our life be? We'll either feel great or we'll feel blah. So this is an exercise where we can think about gathering good, focusing on those good thoughts, and then pushing away negative or bad thoughts. It's kind of symbolic with the movement. So that one exercise can be used several different ways to practice breath, to practice meditation, or just simply to warm up and stretch your shoulders. Our next one, and it was the last one that we did last week, was for our spine, and that started with holding our ball. And so my shoulders are relaxed, and so my hands are facing each other as if I were holding a ball. Wherever you feel most comfortable. I mean, you can hold your ball up a little bit as long as you keep your shoulders relaxed. Mine tends to be a little bit lower. That's where my shoulders like to be relaxed. So just as long as you're not holding tension here, the height isn't really the issue. Holding tension is. So on this spinal move, the hand that's on top of our ball is going to come down and push down towards the ground. Now remember, we keep that soft bend in our elbow, not locking that joint. The hand that's on bottom of our ball is going to come up, following that spine, and push up. Notice the soft bend again, so I'm not locking it up. I'm keeping that soft bend. So I'm pushing up and down at the same time, stretching that spine, coming to my ball, and switch, stretch. Come back to my ball and stretch. Hopefully you're able to feel that stretch in your spine. I like to think about that when you get up in the morning and you're just waking up and it's hello and good morning sunshine. It's just that stretch I think so many people do in the morning. Just be focused of not locking those joints. In terms of breathing, I like to inhale as I come to my ball and then exhale as I separate my hands. It just makes that stretch a little bit more. Inhale as I come to the ball and exhale as I separate. All right, back to our ball and our second spinal movement where the hand that's on top tells us and guides us to what direction we're going to take our ball. So I'm going to move my torso and that ball goes along for the ride till it's just above that knee. Switch my hands and come back across the front to just above that other knee. So notice this is a torso movement and the ball is going along for the ride. See? So if it were a ball movement, then my body wouldn't move at all and my ball would just come across. Now, there's nothing wrong with this movement, except it does nothing for my spine. It maybe does something for my shoulders. And so that's why we make sure we're holding our ball and our body is taking it for a ride. Our body's taking it for a ride. And we're only going just above one knee, switching and going just above that other knee. We're not going way over here. If we go way over here, yes, we're physically able to, but what happens is we may overstretch our spine, which can hurt us, and we're totally against hurting ourselves. Or what it could do is start pulling on that knee where our feet are planted onto the ground. If we start turning too far and it pulls that knee, then that can really start hurting your knee. So those are two reasons, and both of them are valid for not hurting ourselves, as to why you just take a short little trip. It's kind of something we have to relearn when we take Tai Chi class, is that we don't have to go as far as we can, as hard as we can, as many as we can. You know, that's just ingrained into our American culture. And so in Tai Chi class, less is what we go for. All right. So those are the three we learned last week. Let me review those, just starting with our neck. We bring our hands up towards our chin and chest, push away, and follow those hands down. Do a little stretch in the back of your neck. The other one, we come up towards our chin and chest, drop one hand to our hip, and follow this one as we look towards that shoulder, feeling that stretch, coming back to the front, switching hands, and going to the other side. Slow, smooth, continuous is what we're thinking when we do these movements. Next is for our shoulders. So we roll those shoulders forward and we roll those shoulders back. Right there helps reset that posture. If you ever find yourself kind of slumped, that right there helps reset your posture. The other shoulder exercise, we brought our hands up, palms up, and we push down, palms down. In our spine, we went to our ball. We separated those hands, pushed up and down, came back to our ball, and switched sides, not locking our arms, keeping that soft bend. And the final one for our spine involves that ball where we let the hand on top guide us for direction, turn just above that knee, switch our hands, and come back to just above that other knee. And back to center. So those are our first three major joints: neck, shoulders, and spine. Now we're going to start learning our lower body. So before we go to our lower body, our hips, knees, and ankles, do you have any questions about those upper body movements?
No, I don't.
Okay, maybe I've been a good teacher, so I've instructed you well. Okay, so here's my big spiel about lower body. Now, obviously, when we start transferring weight from one leg to another leg, things start getting complicated because most people don't easily just hold their weight on one leg and just stand here like a flamingo, do they? That's not natural. That's not easy for most people. So when you transfer your weight to one leg, you're challenging your stabilizer muscles, especially when you do it slowly. So with that in mind, if balance is an issue for you, then you really want to consider having something stable nearby. I like this table right here. I mean, but that's a good stable place for me to and hold on to. I have this fold out chair right here. I can put it in front of me and hold on to it. When it comes to our lower body exercises, we do have arm movements, but feel free to skip those arm movements if you're worried about falling and you rather hold your chair to keep yourself from falling. I would rather you skip the arm movements, hold on to the chair, and do the weight transfer with assistance of your chair, a table. I mean, there's even if you feel comfortable using a wall, if your wall is nearby. I would rather you use assistance and transfer weight than to sit down and push your foot into the floor. That's where you're going to get the most out of it. Now, if sitting is the only choice, then yes, push that foot into the floor. But anytime we want to get better or stronger, we have to challenge ourselves. We can't take that easy way out if we're going to get stronger. All right, here's an example of a bad idea. This chair right here has wheels. So if I were to lean on it to be my stabilizer, then it's going to put me into the floor because it's going to roll right away from me. So keep that in mind as you choose what you have nearby. Now, y'all may have great balance and you don't need anything, but I always like to have something nearby just in case. I think this table is my favorite because typically all you kind of need, or I need, is just a little something that makes me feel like, oh, I can easily put my hand on. All right. So we're going to do some weight transfer. Whenever we do weight transfer, we want to keep our body upright. So we talked about an upright posture when we very first started, where it's like a string that goes up to the ceiling and down towards the floor. Nice, good posture. We're not leaning to the left or to the right. We're not leaning forward. We're not leaning backwards. Anytime we're leaning, we're going towards falling. And that's totally what we're against, is falling. So keep in mind, as we shift our weight to one leg, as we shift our weight, whether it be forward, back, side, side, that we keep that body upright because we're not trying to fall. Weight transfer is one of our principles, and it's probably the number one thing that helps with falls prevention. It's what really helps strengthen the stabilizer muscles. So take our weight transfer seriously and find the safest way that you can do it so that you can do it. Okay? So here we go. These are for our hips. Now I'm going to show you the lower body movement first, and then I'll add the upper body in. So that first part of our hip exercise is shifting our weight to one leg. All right, I have all my weight on this leg. Now this one's free to move. I'm going to place my heel forward. Then I'm going to pause in the middle. And then I'm going to tap my toe back, but to the side. So you see it's kind of like a kickstand on a bike. Then I'm going to come back to center. Shift my weight to this leg. Heel forward. Pause in the middle. And toe back, but to the side. Notice that whole time my body stayed upright. So I didn't lean either way, forward, back, left, or right. So we shift the weight, heel forward, pause in the middle, and toe back. Back to center, shift the weight, heel forward, pause in the middle, and toe back off to the side. Like a kickstand. That's the lower body movement. The upper body movement looks like this. When my foot is forward, my hands will be back. When I pause in the middle, my hands pause in the middle. And when I put that toe back, my hands come forward. So you see, it's like a counterbalance. When the foot is back, the hands are forward. And when the heel is forward, the hands are back. So that helps be more stable. So let's put those together. We shift the weight, heel forward, hands back, pause in the middle, toe back, hands forward. Back to center, shift the weight, heel forward, hands back, pause in the middle, and toe back, hands forward. Back to center, shift the weight, heel forward, hands back, pause, toe back, hands forward, back to center, shift, heel forward, hands back, pause in the middle, toe back, hands forward. Okay, so just then I shifted back and forth. That's one way to do that movement. And that way gives you more practice with weight transfer. Another way to do that movement is to stay on one leg, and it helps you practice endurance. So by shifting my weight to one leg, I do heel, pause, back, pause, heel, pause, back. You see, I'm staying on that one leg. So that has a different feeling than whenever you shift every single time. Like I said, it's a difference between practicing more weight transfer versus practicing endurance of how long you hold your weight on that one leg. Now in Tai Chi, we try to stick to about 3. I think just now we did probably double that just in this for the sake of learning our feet by ourselves and then putting it together. So this may be where you start feeling some soreness if you're not used to weight transfer and holding your weight on one leg. So don't worry if you get a little sore. It's just the nature of using muscle that you haven't used in a while. And the more you do it, the less you'll be sore. So that's our first hip exercise. Are you good with that exercise?
No,
Yes,
I have problems standing, so I need some practice with that.
Okay. Well, let me introduce the chair. So I just did the hand movements. So let's just say you want to use your chair for a little stabilizer. You can hold it with just one hand and practice that, moving that leg forward and back. You can switch to the other side and the other leg. So that's how you can use the chair for your stabilizer. Or you can use both hands. I don't like this chair because it has a bar and I have a harder time putting my foot forward. This is not my favorite chair. Maybe one day I'll get a chair that I think is a better fit for the Tai Chi class. But sometimes we can't help what we got. We got to use what we have.
Yeah, I like that one better.
Huh?
I like that one better, standing on the back of the chair.
Yeah, so that's a way to get started. The hands is a counterbalance. The hands is kind of what gives it that Tai Chi feel, you know? But if we're really just trying to strengthen our stabilizer muscles, if we're really just trying to improve our strength and reduce our risk for falls, you don't have to worry about doing the hands to that movement. You can hold on to something as long as you're experiencing weight transfer and holding weight on one leg. You can do that with holding onto the chair.
Yeah.
Now, some people have to do this seated, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, because we're all at different levels. But here, if I do that movement seated, then I'm a little limited. So I can put my heel forward and bring it back to center, and that's it. So that's limiting a little bit of that range of motion of my hip, because I can't pull my foot back here. I'll be fell out my chair. So we don't do that toe back when we're seated. We simply go heel and then back to our starting position. So we can add our hands here where we come back and then back to that starting position here. So that's the seated version. For your foot that's not moving, so the foot that's here, that foot's heel is out. This one is in that bent seated position. When I move this foot, I push this foot into the floor. So that helps me utilize some stabilizer muscles. Here, push this foot into the floor as I put that heel out, and here. So that's the way to do it seated. Because you might have days where you can't do it standing. And you know, your body just says, hey, I'll do that, but I'm not doing that today. So do the seated version of that movement. All right, our other hip exercise shifts our weight from side to side. So like I told you, these are some challenging movements for our stabilizers as we weight transfer. So I have my feet right here, weight on both feet. I'm going to shift my weight to one leg. The leg that no longer has weight, I'm going to tap it out to the side. Here's my invisible chair. Use that chair. Help stabilize yourself. Shifting the weight. Tapping that toe to the side. Back to center. Shift here. Okay. So that's the weight transfer side to side for our hip. So it helps that range of motion of our hip. The seated version of this movement looks a little different. And even if you're able to do this movement standing, I still recommend this movement to do seated, because it does stretch your hip like those others don't. And that is, here I have both legs on the floor. And what I'm going to do is take one and lay that knee out. So you see how my foot kind of came up off the floor. When I lay that knee to the side, I can really feel a stretch in that hip flexor. I bring this knee back up, and now I can lay this knee to the side. Feel that stretch in that hip flexor, bring it back up. So this is a different way of doing that movement, where we're standing and we shift, tap, shift, tap. Now, some people feel comfortable tapping their foot out to the side like that, push this foot into the floor, tap that foot out, come back, push this foot into the floor while this one moves out. I personally do not like that movement because my hips will pop out of place, and that doesn't work for me, but other people like it. So you can try it and you can decide if you like it or don't like it, and that's completely up to you how you do the movement. I like the one where I lay that knee out and really feel that stretch in that hip flexor for the second hip warm-up stretch. Now there is hand movement to go along with that one, and it looks like this, where I'm stacking my hands and I'm pushing, switch, pushing this way. So I move those hands in the direction of the weight shift. So if I'm shifting to this leg, shift, tap out, bring it back, switch my hands, shift, tap out, bring it in, shift, tap out. Now, what I want you to notice is where my hands stop. So this right here is the end of my body, and this is called my frame. As if I were to, go to the Walmarts and buy a special perfect size frame just for my body. That would be my frame. I'm not going to go outside of my frame, because if I take and go way out here, you see what I just did? I just started leaning. And
Yeah, lose your balance, yeah.
we get unbalanced when we lean, don't we?
Yeah,
We simply take that hand to the side, stop at our frame, change, shift, so my body stays upright. Now I want you to notice what I just did. I shifted the weight, but what I didn't do was pick that foot up and tap it to the side. I skipped that. I shifted the weight, but I was like, I'm kind of nervous about picking that foot up. I'm scared that I may fall. So I'm okay with shifting the weight, but that picking up that foot and tapping it out there, that's more than what I'm comfortable doing right now. So see, you can make some decisions in how you do these movements. Do them this way for a while, and then, maybe in a few weeks decide, I'm going to try to pick up that foot and see if I feel comfortable now, or I'm going to hold on to this chair and use that chair as a helper so that I don't have to worry so much about falling as I pick up that foot after I transfer the weight. So I'm trying to show you options so you can find your place of comfort, because I never want you to feel like, oh gosh, this is too hard, I can't do it. Somewhere in these choices, find what fits for you. If you can't find something, ask me and I'll help you pick it. All right, so those are for our hips. Next is for our knee. Surprise, surprise, we have more weight transfer. So I have my loose fist down here by my hips. And when I say loose fist, we're not trying to really punch somebody. We're not really making a fist. It's as if you're holding an egg and you don't want to break it. And Lord knows, with the price of eggs these days, we ain't trying to break eggs. So we're holding our eggs. We don't want to break them. Nice loose fist. We're going to shift our weight. We're going to lift our foot up, tap our toe out in front of us, and punch out with that opposite hand. Bringing it back, shift, lift, tap and punch. Bring it back, shift, lift, tap and punch. See, here's the weight transfer. Now remember, skip the arm movement and just hold on to your chair as you do this movement. No worries about skipping the arm movement. Very good. Shift, lift, tap and punch. Shift, lift, tap and punch. Our other knee exercise, we actually step out. I'm going to turn to the side. So I'm going to shift the weight. I'm going to step, not very big step, but it's a step out forward. I'm going to shift weight to that front leg, not all the weight, just a little weight. I'm going to punch opposite hand of the one I stepped out with. Bring it back, feet side by side. Shift the weight, step, shift and punch, bring it back, feet side by side. Shift, step, shift and punch, bring it back, feet side by side. Shift, step, shift and punch, bring it back, feet side by side. Shift, step, shift and punch, bring it back, feet side by side. Shift, step, shift and punch, bring it back. So you notice this back foot stays flat on the floor. If I were to bring it up as I shifted that weight to the front, you see my body kind of went forward, but I also felt very much unstable in my weight. That foot flat on the floor, both feet flat on the floor, is a stable stance. This right here is called a staggered stance. When I start to lift that heel up, it pushes more weight forward and pushes my whole body forward. So we want to stay stable in our stance as we shift, step, shift, and back, and feet side by side. So there's the punch opposite of the foot that steps out. There's that. But remember, we can hold on to our chair and skip that punch and just do the weight shift, weight shift, weight shift here. Magic is in weight shifting, in strengthening our stabilizer muscles. So if you never learn anything in Tai Chi, but you really do want help with falls, weight transfer. Transferring weight to one leg and allowing one leg to hold your weight. Even if you don't pick that foot up off the floor, still this leg has your weight. Transferring it to the other leg, allowing that leg to hold your weight while your body's upright. So that's side to side weight transfer, but you stagger your stance front and back. I'm sorry, my nose keeps itching. That is not part of the Tai Chi move. But shifting that weight front and back with my feet stable on the floor, I'm kind of pushing into that knee, bringing it back, stable, front and back, weight transfer. Even at that staggered stance, I'm not putting all my weight to my front leg. I'm bringing all my weight to that back leg so that I can bring my foot back. So weight transfer is just the key to helping strengthen our stabilizers. All right, so those movements we just did, the hip movements and the knee movements, those are the ones that are probably the most challenging for us, because we really are transferring the weight, holding our body, holding our weight on one leg. Also, our hips and our knees, they're the joints that are most likely to wear out. You know, God didn't make us to last forever. So our bodies, from the time we're born, start wearing out. All the times that we have put weight on our knees and our hips, it wears on it. And so these are our weight-bearing joints, the ones that most often get replaced. So you may either have had, may have, will have joint replacement surgery in your knees or hips. And I'm certain you know someone who's had it.
Oh, yes, definitely so.
So if we can do, if we can keep our weight down, then we keep some of that stress off of those weight-bearing joints. And, you know, I have a friend who needs a knee replacement really bad, but they will not give her a knee replacement until she loses weight. Well, she's in a catch-22 because she's in so much pain from her knee that it's hard for her to exercise because she hurts when she moves. So she's having a challenge right now. So if we can keep our weight off to keep the stress on our weight-bearing joints, then that is ideal for sure. That's just going to help us in the long run. So finally, our last warm-up stretch is for our ankles. And so there's no arm movements. I'm going to hold my hands here in front of me. I'm going to shift the weight to one leg. So there's that weight shift. Again, hold a chair if you feel more comfortable. And I'm going to go heel toe. So I'm rocking that foot, heel toe, heel toe. This works on that flexibility and mobility of that ankle joint. You know, we don't think about that ankle being a weight-bearing joint, but we just kind of forget about that ankle. But it's definitely a weight bearing joint. Switch to that other foot, heel toe, heel toe. Bring that foot back. And now this time when we shift the weight, we're gonna go big toe, little toe. So we're rocking that foot side to side. I just thought of something. I didn't do those knee exercises seated. Let me get through this. Side to side, ankle joint. Well, let me start with the seated ankle joints. And when you do this seated, you can sit back into the back of your chair, so the chair part supports your legs better. And you can put your feet out, and you can do like windshield wipers. So you're going side to side. You can heel toe in the air. I say point towards your face, point away from your face. That's a way to work on the flexibility of your ankles from a seated position. Just rolling them in circles, moving them any which way they naturally move. Going back to our knees, if you stay in that seated in your chair, so you want to sit on the edge to where your feet are still about shoulder width apart. My weight's on both legs. To do the first knee where we tap that foot out, we push one foot into the floor and then put that toe out in the air, bring it back, or you can keep it closer to the floor, whatever you feel more comfortable, but you're putting the toe out. Now for this, and you can do the punch too, opposite of the foot that you put out. This takes a lot of core strength to lift your leg while you're in a seated position. So if you scooch back, if you can still touch the floor, you may find that that's easier for you. The other one, you'll lift and put your heel out, and that is the movement that would equate to the one where we stepped out, shifted forward, and back. Okay, there. And they sound like potato chips. Hopefully y'all didn't hear my potato chip knees. Okay.
Yeah, I feel myself.
You heard your own potato chip knees?
We got our own potato chimney.
I'll tell you what, I got them. So I'm going to review all of our warm-up stretches that we've done. So we did 3 last week. We introduced 3 this week. So now we have a total of 6 of our major joints. I don't know what is one of y'all's computer making a noise, or is that my computer?
Must be your computer.
I keep hearing a sound like something's coming unplugged or something.
I don't have anything on over here.
Well, y'all are both on Claris, so I don't see how it could be y'all's, but anyway. All right, so we're going to review all of those. Now, as class progresses, we won't spend the whole class on our warm-up stretches. Right now, we're just learning. We will move more into our Tai Chi movement, but we want to make sure we feel nice and comfortable with our stretches. So here we go. Let's start going all the way through, starting with our neck. There we have that nice stable stance. Our weight's on both legs. We have good posture. We're upright. And with our neck, we brought our hands up towards our chin and chest. We pushed away, and then we followed those hands all the way down. That was our first one. Our second one started out that same way, except when we came here, we dropped one hand to our hip, followed the other towards our shoulder, back to the front, switch. There we go. That's our neck. The next is our shoulder, where we're rolling that shoulder forward and then rolling our shoulder back. Our other one comes up and pushes down. Then we have our spine, where we have our ball. We separate, come back to our ball and separate. Then our other spine goes side to side. Now for our hips, we shift, heel forward, hands back, and toe back, hands forward, shift. Do it for the other leg. Then we shift to one leg, tap out, shift, tap out. For our knees, loose fist, shift, lift, tap and punch, bring it back, shift, lift, tap and punch. The next one, we step out, step, shift, bring it back, keeping those feet flat on the floor, shift, step, shift and punch, bring it back. And our ankles, we shift the weight, heel, toe, rock that foot, shift, heel, toe, rock that foot, and then big toe, little toe, side to side, and shift, big toe, little toe. So that's a real quick review of all of our movements that we'll do every time. To end class, we always give ourselves a nice little business. And then we gather tension and release it. So it's much better to release tension here and release. We do the big shoulder circle. Inhale up and exhale. Then we take our right fist that represents our strength. Our fingers together represents our friendship. Our thumb in represents our humility. And we put those together, and in mutual respect, we say namaste. So that's what we'll do. We'll keep building on what we learned, and y'all give me feedback on what you need, and I'll help guide you through it, okay?
Okay.
Be looking for the YouTube video for this to upload. I'll have it up this afternoon, and you'll be able to review it as well as look at anything else. Do y'all have any questions for me?
So you have to go to YouTube in order to get the videos?
You on your Claris have a button that goes to my videos. I'm not sure how it's labeled.
I've been watching videos, but it wasn't on YouTube.
Okay. What is it on your Claris?
Yes.
Okay. Is it me?
Yes.
Okay. It's taking you to YouTube. You just don't know it. They have it set where it goes just to my videos, but it is on YouTube.
Okay.
You have the videos because I've been watching.
Yeah, they have it where you just have I call it an easy button, but it is YouTube.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Well, let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you next week if I don't hear from you, okay?
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.